I think that leaves us one last. Is there one more?
One more. One mo.
Okay.
Who wants it?
You should pick the last headline.
I have
Don't cheat.
thoughts about the last headline.
You already know what
How do you know what it is?
How do you know
Did
what
you
it is?
look in the hat? You didn't even know there was a second hat.
You've been reading it from the side
We're
of the
definitely doing all of this off the dome and not with an outline in front of us. Okay. Tesla launches lower range Model X and Y that are $10,000 cheaper.
What?
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, I already read that.
We were talking about
did?
this.
We were talking about this
earlier.
yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, so
I have thoughts.
I'll just give you the black and white nuts and bolts of what Tesla just did, and then we can react to it.
Yeah.
So Tesla just announced a new base trim for the Model S and Model X. It is $10,000 less than the previous base trim, which was the long range. So there was a long range and a plaid. Now this is the standard range. $10,000 lower price. So for Model S, that goes from 89 grand to 79 grand. And it is a roughly 80-mile shorter max battery capacity. So the max range goes from the long range, about 400 miles, to 320 miles. That's basically it. And the question that we had was, is this actually a new vehicle, like a new battery, a smaller battery being shipped? Or is this what Tesla's done in the past, which is the same exact piece of hardware, software limited, to be slower and have less
Someone
range?
confirmed it was a software limited.
It is, in fact, a software limited version.
Yeah.
So,
It's also
you're
slower.
It is a little bit slower.
It's 3.7 instead of 3.1.
Yeah, which honestly,
Also probably software.
they're going to feel the same. Yeah, that's a software limit. But our question was like, is that worth it? And how do we feel about it? Honestly, I think my gut reaction is most people are going to be fine with 320 miles of range. And I think it's probably the best deal of the Model S and X. But also, it is kind of weird paying for extra battery and never having access to it, because that's happened before.
People were speculating that they might allow you to pay to unlock the extra range.
Were people actually speculating
They were,
that? Or
After
they
you
were
buy it?
speculating that. This is not a thing that was announced.
there was a thing saying, like, will they ever let you buy the rest of the battery
Yeah.
later?
Like they got into hot water a long time ago for during some like
There's a hurricane in Florida.
it was a hurricane in Florida. They software unlocked everyone's extra range,
which was super cool.
but then it
because people
also
were
exposed
evacuating
that they were doing
But
it.
then it was like, wait, I had this extra battery the whole time?
No
And
one knew.
interesting.
Yeah. So my take is that if you live in a home with a home charger and you generally don't travel more than 300 miles a day, then I would pay the $10,000 less. But if I didn't have a home with a home charger, I would probably pony up for the extra range.
I'm going to guess that if you're buying a Model S or X, which is already more expensive than the 3 and the Y,
Yeah,
then you
that's
have enough money to have a home charger, because you could
Well, if
get
you
a
have a
model,
home.
you could get a long range, true. You could get a long range Model Y for less than the price of this new Model S, and it will have more range. So if you really
Yeah.
care about range, you can buy
Yeah,
range.
that's
But this is going to be like, the luxury bigger S or X. I don't know. It's weird that I'm guessing if Tesla ever does allow you to unlock the battery that you are carrying
It'll
around
cost
with
more
you,
than 10
it'll cost more than the 10
Yeah,
grand.
cost 15 to 20.
I have a
Yeah.
pitch
Okay.
that I thought was kind of interesting, but I don't want to give them any ideas, or people are going to get mad at me for a potential subscription. Something.
Here we go.
Okay. We've talked about in the past about how the full self-driving is like X amount, or they were doing potentially like a subscription model, right? And people were saying like, maybe you're going on a trip or you're traveling a lot one month, maybe you want to pay just by the month.
Oh, yeah.
I think this makes way more sense with range. If you have 300 miles of range and you want to pay for 1 month where you're doing a really long road trip to get the extra range to make that not as bad, pay $100 for that month or something, like a la carte extra battery, but you spend a lesser amount from the start.
Actually wouldn't mind that.
I think that sounds way more reasonable than paying for
Because I don't,
like month to month full self-driving.
if you're someone who always does road trips the same time of year every year, you would just pay for that 1 month.
I feel like a lot of people do it once a year.
Yeah.
Why pay the extra 10,000?
I like inherently dislike the business model of giving you everything but software locking it. Like
Yeah.
that is a pretty new thing that has only existed in the last few years, and it bothers me intensely.
I can't figure out why it doesn't bother me. I feel like it should bother me. Because the comments I keep seeing are like, I paid for all this battery, I should be able to have it.
Yeah.
But technically you didn't.
Well, in this case now, you're not paying for it because you are paying less. And like there is an argument to be like, well, I really did want a Model S, and now there is a more affordable version.
Yeah.
I think the way that Tesla sees it is like there are people who are not willing to pay 90 grand for a car, but that are willing to pay 80 grand for a car, and they're willing to take a smaller margin on what they would normally make on the Model S if they access this audience that is willing to pay $10,000 less, but not if it was $10,000 more.
And just for clarity, the reason they're not making a new car with a smaller battery for this price point is because it actually
Costs
takes more money to develop and create a new SKU and ship 2 different versions of the car.
Yeah.
So they're just going to continue mass producing the same car with a software lock and then take a smaller margin on it to get more people in the door on Model S.
Yeah.
I get it.
It means they got some sick margins on the
if it's a
higher version. Though.
Of course.
I wonder if anyone will try to hack it to like unlock the range.
Someone will definitely try.
I'll try.
Yeah.
I have a
Tesla's-
conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you... Not everyone all at once. Question first. Can you still not buy out the car at the end of your lease with Tesla?
No, you can't.
You cannot do that.
No.
So what if they're like leasing these out, and then when they get the car back, they just sell it as the full range model?
Well, or they have the option to sell it at whichever model they want it to be.
True. Yeah.
But because they do that with full self-driving. Because you can't buy the car at the end of your lease, so they take it back, they install full self-driving, and then they sell it for the same price as a new car, but it's a great value because you're getting it with full self-driving.
It'll pay for itself later.
It's weird. Like, do we feel
Deep
differently about full self-driving than access to the battery? Because full self-driving...
I prefer access to the battery.
One's real.
But okay, if you just define it as full self-driving is software on the car that takes advantage of hardware that you already have, right? It's the cameras and the computer and everything, and it's just software on the car.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing as the extra range. It's software on the car that takes advantage of the hardware, the battery that you already have.
Yeah.
I'll argue the
same
difference
thing.
is that the software for full self-driving is ever updating to get better, whereas the software to just give you the range that's in the battery, that's just software that's literally locking you out, where the other one is software that's growing. So I think there is an actual difference there. That's why I think the battery one feels a little worse, whereas the full self-driving one, like some cameras and stuff they're adding, but those are probably like way smaller margin things where like having this big chunk of battery, like those batteries are expensive and you own it and it's there. I like
technically do. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, that becomes its whole other controversy as well, as like, do you own the thing you do?
Like,
which like Ford got in trouble with like not allowing people to sell the car after because, but I bought the car, I own it. Why do you get to tell me if I can't anymore?
Right. The one weird quirk with the standard range Model S, because it's a software lock, is you can charge it to 100% every day and never experience range degradation because you're not actually charging it to 100%.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Is at 100% in the ramping up curve of the battery, or is
no.
Also probably an advantage. You'll probably experience a faster 90 to 100% charge.
Is it? But if the battery thinks it's only X amount, is
That's actually
the ramping down thing? I know it is a hardware limitation, but do they also have stuff built in the software as well to help protect?
That's a good question, and we may have to like play with it. But I would imagine they kind of treat it like a glass ceiling. Like it knows it has more battery hardware, but it'll charge on the ramp on the way to 100% and then just cut.
That'd be pretty sweet.
It's the first
320.
It's funny that we think it's pretty sweet when really it's literally the exact same thing everybody else is doing already. But like, and that's
looking at it differently.
It's one argument for spending 10,000 less though, because usually when as long as your everyday commute, like you said, is it more than 320 miles or 328 Tesla EPA rated miles,
260.
Yeah. Like, you're only going to charge on a road trip where you're charging multiple times to 80% anyways, because you're losing time.
Yeah.
So if
in this
there
car,
is
100,
you're doing it exactly the same as the other car in a road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$10,000 is a lot of money for like 80 miles. You know.
That's why people are saying it's such a good deal. is because you got $10,000 off and you still get 320 miles.
Yeah, I consider that a pretty good deal.
It's weird. It feels like Tesla tried to pull one over on its customers, but maybe the customers are winning on this one. Because if you're treating road trips exactly the same anyways,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, and you're charging
It's the same car.
you're charging your garage to 100% every day. You get 320 miles every day, and the person who has the long range car is going to charge to 80%, which is also 320 miles. You know,
That's so funny.
like very
This is-
similar.
With $10,000, you could buy a MacBook Pro, a Pixel Fold.
and a Magic Leap. Yeah, no, that's
Where did that come
I don't
from?
know, it's like $4,000, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think that's probably it
People
for
buy
our thoughts.
that.
I mean, I doubt we're gonna like get one of these cars just to test it, but I think we're gonna see some some people are gonna get these cars, and this always happens with Tesla cars. People immediately go test them to see what the behavior is. So someone please, if you're listening to this and you get one of these standard range cars, plug it into a supercharger, go to 100%, and measure if it actually slows down dramatically as it approaches 320 miles, or if it just like slams into 320 and stops. Because we all
I'm
want.
really interested in
I want to know.
Thanks so much for watching that clip. Headlines in a Hat episode clips. We're going to do something I'm calling engagement in a hat, where we're going to tell you how to engage with this video.
Does that mean I can
Through a
get,
hat.
like, if I can reach in and get a diamond ring on my finger?
I didn't get one.
You won't know unless you try.
Oh my
you miss
gosh.
100% of the
tab-
shots you don't take.
My tab says subscribe. That's all it says.
Weird.
That's
We
pretty
should
cool.
do that.
Yeah.
Wait, it says like?
Huh.
Like, probably like this clip.
Oh.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Mine says comment.
But
wait.
what should they actually comment? Now
You
that
should
they've
pull it
gotten
out
to
of
the
the hat.
end. Chupacabra. They say to comment the word chupacabra.
Spelled correctly.
Wait, I found a ring.
Wait, Adam, you need to
Engagement.
pick.
Engagement. Oh. Oh.
What's it say? 15% of my
Suitcase.
diet is
That was pretty good.
I was like, did I press the button?
Thanks for the engagement.